Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So I'll get it out of the way. I know that we voted. There was a vote on the community tab. Y'all said that Snow Peak Ruins would be the next place that I work on. And since that vote, I've released videos on Hyrule Castle Town and now this. And it's all this to say, there's still some things I'm figuring out for Snow Peak Ruins, but a video is coming soon. I'm just getting that out of the way. I really appreciate that y'all have been voting in the polls and leaving comments for suggestions of places y'all want to see. I'm just getting that all that out of the way. It's like, I see you, I hear you. There's just some things I'm figuring out before we can bring Snow Peak to life. I'm still figuring out where it should be on the map and putting that together, but it will probably be the next video that I make, so stay tuned, as you know, as always. But anyway, let me introduce the project for anyone who's new to the channel, because it's possible that some of y'all are new. YouTube, the algorithms have been recommending this like crazy, which is awesome. I really love that it's been doing that. I've had several videos pre-recorded, so this is the first video that I'm recording after it's broken like 2,000 subs. So who knows how many subscribers there are as of the release of this video. But it's crazy to me just how much growth that there's been and how many new faces there are on the channel. So I don't want to give a number, but I do want to release a video kind of as a special for 10,000 subscribers. So if it's already past that and this is released afterward, then that ages the video just a little bit. But anyway, anyone who's new to the channel, this is a Zelda fan project where I am 3D modeling all of Hyrule in the art style of the Wind Waker. It's a fun little experiment. It's been really exciting. As you know, all the Great Sea islands in Wind Waker are the mountaintops of Hyrule. So this is all about extrapolating from the locations of the Great Sea and figuring out the world down below. So it's been really fun to work on. It's been, like I said, it's been so encouraging to see all of y'all's comments, and it's been fun. Just kind of now having all these new people to bounce ideas off of. It's you know, there's a lot of contradicting ideas, of course. That's what happens with projects like these when there's that many viewers. But it's also, it's really cool that it's not just up to me to figure out things. I can ask y'all what y'all think and we can vote, and it's nice to just like be able to share the creativity for this project. And I really value that. It's like there's absolutely no ego wrapped up, and I feel no need to be the one making every single creative decision. I really want to know what y'all think and bring that into the project and bring on collaborators. If you see this and you're a 3D modeler and you're interested in contributing to the project, I'd love to have you on board. I'd love to share the task of creativity with y'all. I really mean that. So feel free to, I think my email is on the I think it's listed on my channel. You know, maybe on the about page of the channel, so you should be able to find all that. I really welcome that, because that's something that I know so many of y'all care about the project and want to see it, you know, completed soon. And just the fact is, if it's just me, you know, we're still gonna have to hang in there for a couple more years. But if we can collaborate and bring it together, bring it to life together, then who knows? Maybe that'll accelerate the process, right? It's already been in the works for a couple years, and it's kind of crazy to me. This whole thing with YouTube, because like most of the time that I've been working on the project has not really been with an audience. You know, I mean, before I posted anything on social media, of course, but then even it took time to grow on social media. And so it's like, it's really cool that now it's like I can really share this with all of y'all and know that there are people watching. And I really, it makes me feel very, proud and excited to know how many people are interested in the project and are just as passionate about it seems like, you know. And I think that that's really cool that this project really resonates with so many people. I love reading comments where y'all talk about, like, you know, how much you've been imagining the exact same world, and I think that that's why, like, you know, when y'all have ideas, it's like it's because we've all been imagining it together for all these years. And of course, there have been other versions of Hyrule that we can draw from, that I am drawing from, with locations from Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild and Ocarina of Time, and that all informs how I want to create this map. but it's also there's so many blanks that I'm filling in that come from the Wind Waker itself and extrapolating. And of course, as always, I have to give credit to the original map that this is based off of. Of course, credit to the original developers. But this reference map that I don't know if you can see it in the video right now, but everything is I'm using that as reference. This base map that you can see that I'm drawing from. It's by Jacob Zechariah. He made it probably 10 years ago, and just extrapolating from the islands of the Great Sea and using that to kind of create a map of Hyrule and figure out like how the islands would line up with Hyrule and in relationship to famous landmarks from other Zelda games. So huge credit goes to him for figuring all that stuff out. And all I'm doing is just modeling that in 3D really. And making my own, creative decisions as well. And, figuring out some other stuff, but it's, really just the fact that he figured all that out. It really makes this project possible for sure. And so I really want to give him credit, because I do feel like while modeling takes time, I mean, most of the reason that this takes time is not because of the time that it takes to model things, but the process of creativity. It's a whole world to figure out where things go, and just that process of going into each region and thinking about, well, what should go here? That's what takes time. And I really enjoy now that I can bounce ideas off of y'all, is like we can kind of share that process. And I do think that that'll make it easier, and it'll make it easier to work on locations, because there's less that I have to figure out, because I can always just ask y'all, well, what do y'all think? Right? And I really appreciate that y'all have voiced y'all's opinions, even on things that I disagree with. There's because part of the reason that I've delayed Snow Peak is that originally I was gonna build Snow Peak ruins near Ice Ring Isle. I was like, okay, that's a snowy island. It can be near a snowy mountain. And it's as simple as that. But a lot of y'all commented and were like, hey, guy, hey, Joe. Y'all said, Joe, Ice Ring Isle is in the south area of the map. Snow Peak Ruins and Twilight Princess is to the northwest, closer to where like the Hebra region is in Breath of the Wild, right? And like that's where it should be. And that's what y'all said. And I really appreciate that y'all voiced that, how important y'all think it is to honor that. Because I think it's a mixed bag, right? There's some things where I do feel like there's a lot of freedom with how to interpret different locations from the world and where things can go, and how regions can be kind of stretched and things can kind of teleport, right? That's how the Zelda series has always been. But it's cool to see that, like, even with that, there are things that y'all feel, and I feel the same way too about some things, right? It's like there are things that's like, all right, like I know there's freedom and things can shift from Hyrule to Hyrule, from game to game, but there are things that matter, and I really want to encourage y'all to voice that when you see something I'm doing that y'all feel like, okay, like I know there's creative freedom here, but I actually don't think it would make sense happening this way. So I really do welcome that, and I appreciate that. And I try to honor it, in every way that I can. Obviously, like if there's two comments saying different things, I can't honor both of them, but I do want y'all to, I want y'all to know that your voice is being heard at the very least, I mean, ultimately it is my project and I'm going to do things my way, I mean, spoiler alert, but I do really value sharing creative opinions here. As per some of my previous videos, I think something that's interesting about the process of the video you're watching here for the time lapse is that, like, I was kind of waffling on what to do with these towers. And I want to talk about that for a little bit, because sometimes I'll do a whole video and not even talk about what I'm modeling. But these towers, of course, like in the world of the Great Sea, you see these Bokoblin towers, right? And I think there's been some ambiguity, right, about whether they were built into the sea or whether they were there before. And, regardless of what makes more sense, I do like the idea that, it's a part of the Great Sea. I want them to be a part of my version of Hyrule. I like that. I like being able to see some hint of, how the Great Sea like looked in game and be able to honor that. But I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, a lot of these are fairly close to islands, which means that there's already mountains that I'm working on that are pretty close to the tower. So there's a lot of them where I don't have to make the tower taller or anything. It doesn't have to go that much deeper into the ocean. But some of them that are especially closer to like the reefs, right? I'm thinking like part of the design there was that would not be a mountain, that the reefs would be over a more sunken area of the ocean. for Hyrule, at least, for the world of Hyrule, that there would be some freedom there. So there were some decisions that I had to make. I was like, okay, like, well, if these platforms are kind of, you know, there's not something right below them, they're going to have to extend pretty far down to be able to reach them, which means either that it's going to be a really tall tower with a really long pole and a really long ladder, or maybe I should do stairs with scaffolding, and that was something I kind of waffled on. And so I think you saw in this time lapse, there was some stuff where I was like, you know, doing things one way, and then I kind of went back and forth, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to pretty much just kind of copy paste the ladder, but still have like tiers there, right, where you can climb a bit of the ladder, and there's you know, a platform there, and you can, you know, catch your breath, maybe fight some enemies, maybe there's treasure on each level even, and then climb the next part of the ladder, and maybe it's the same thing, right? That's the vision there, is that like it's not just one giant ladder, but there's tiers, and I think that makes the design a lot more engaging, and I think that that's something that would gel with an actual you know, in theory, an actual gameplay experience. You know, like I will say, like, and I've said this before, is like, you know, for me, like this project, a lot of y'all have been commenting about, like, will there ever be gameplay? I would love for there to be some kind of experience where you can explore the world, but like, I don't have a background in creating games. That's not what I'm doing. This is an art project. This is a 3D model. I can make animations, you know, so like, at least right now, like that's what it is. And so, I mean, but like I said, right, it's like, I'd be interested in like creating a way for y'all to explore it. But we are taking things one step at a time. And right now, at the very least, this is just a 3D model. That's just where it's at right now. But I do want to think about and like use philosophy from game design and think about that in the creation of the world, and think about what would it mean to actually walk there, and what would it mean to actually put yourself, you know, on the ground, and as Link, what would it mean for Link to be here? And that is something that is informing my decisions. So that definitely still impacts my philosophy of modeling, for sure. So yeah, I mean, you can see here, like, I'm not watching the time lapse, so I'm not actually sure how this is lining up, but I know that at the end of the time lapse, of course, I was going, you know, back and forth through each platform and kind of checking to see, like, all right, just seeing where all the locations are and seeing which ones need extensions to the towers, and which ones are just fine the way they are. So it's you know, there's freedom there, and there may be some of them where it's so easy to just copy and paste those extensions now, and I don't think it feels copy and pasted. Like, I mean, like, obviously it is, but I think it still feels natural enough, and I'm happy with the final design. So let's wrap things up. Just a quick spiel. I should have started this earlier, but we'll be quick. So if you want to support the project, I just launched a Patreon. Feel free to become a member there. Becoming a Patreon member gives you exclusive bonus features, behind-the-scenes access to all of my filmmaking stuff, early access to scripts, music that I'm composing. Any music that you've heard in the background of this video was my music. And so feel free to listen on Spotify or Apple Music to Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more updates. I think that's the whole spiel. So I'd love to see y'all support. That makes possible the creation of everything that I do. But anyway, I'll let y'all go. Here's a little render for you.